Can you be greater than your body?
Yes.
Greater than your environment?
Yes.
Greater than time?
Yes.
Because if you can, you will truly change. Because to change is to be greater than your body, greater than your environment, and greater than time. So I want you to turn to the person next to you, and I want you to make a deal with them that you're going to be greater than your body, greater than your environment, and greater than time the remainder of this morning, please. You should know by now that you're then not hardwired to be that way for the rest of your life. And that you're not your genes that's causing you to head to some genetic destiny. That we are marvels of adaptability and change. And the way we change is to become conscious of what we've been unconscious to. And the act of becoming aware of what we were unaware of, the act of self-observation, means you're no longer that program. Now you are the consciousness observing that program, and you're beginning to objectify your subjective self. You're seeing yourself through the eyes of someone else. And you can begin to understand what you have to change about yourself to step into a new future. Are you with me still?
Yes.
So the act of becoming conscious of what you've been unconscious to, and if that's 95% of the time, for the most part, then I would say that when you're unconscious, you're running a program. And I would also say that if you're not in the present moment, you're running a program as well. And then the program becomes greater than our will. And in fact, it's running us. Are you still with me?
Yes.
So then, if you go to the wedding, and it's a Mexican wedding, of course, which are the best weddings in the world. And, you know, they start who the hell knows when, and I don't know what's up with Mexicans when they say the afternoon, because that could mean up to 7:30 or 8 o'clock at night. So it starts sometime in the afternoon, finishes maybe 2 afternoons later. And you just keep eating salsa for your hangover, and you just keep going. So you go to the Mexican wedding, and you have your little tequilitas, your little 2 shots of tequila, and you're talking to all your friends, and then here comes the champagne, and you're drinking the champagne, toasting away, and then you have some hors d'oeuvres, and then you sit down, and here comes the good wine, and you have 3 great glasses of wine, and all of a sudden, here comes the music. Boom, 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 and all of a sudden, it's a song of when you were, 19 years old, and you just can't pass it up. So you get out there, and you do this kind of thing. You got this whole thing going, and all your friends jump out there, and then here they come with the video camera. Videoing the whole show, and you're just bumping in there, man. And then all of a sudden, they post the wedding on the internet. Now, here's my question. If you are observing yourself, would you agree that the next time you go to a wedding, you may bring it in a little bit? Kind of refine some of those moves that no longer exist, except in your own body and mind? Would you agree then you would self-correct? Modify something about you to do a better job. So you have to observe yourself in order to do that. Yes or no? Yes. And if you're doing a lecture and you got one finger up your nose and you're moving your bra around and doing whatever, would you agree then? Well, if you observed yourself, no one would observe you like you would, right? You're just watching everything about you, just going, oh my God, that was my mother. What the hell was it? Oh my God, I better straighten up. You start looking at yourself and beginning to modify who you are. Would you agree?
Yes.
And that's called evolution. So then, if 95% are unconscious programs because you wake up in the morning and you got to get in touch with that feeling, and that feeling is going to begin to turn on circuits in your brain equal to the past, and then you run to the same choice, the rush to the same behavior to create the same experience, all for the familiar feeling called you. You keep doing that over and over again, that becomes a program. Yes?
Yes.
So then what you do is you have the thought and you connect to the feeling, and then the rest is just your body following your mind in your known familiar environment. Yes or no?
Yes.
So then the habit is a redundant set of automatic, unconscious thoughts, behaviors, and emotions that's acquired through frequent repetition. Come on, are you with me?
Yes.
A habit is when you've done something so many times that the body now is programmed to know how to do it better than the brain. So then if a habit is when your body goes on autopilot, if you've been running through the same routine behaviors for the last 20 years and you're doing the same thing tomorrow, then your body is on autopilot into a predictable future, unconsciously, based on what you were unconsciously doing in the past. How many people are with me?
Yes.
Turn the person next to you and have a wonderful conversation about that. If you're not doomed by your genes, then it must mean that you may have some control or effect over your genetic destiny. So then, your body is a protein-producing machine. And every cell in your body that makes a protein, a gene has to be regulated or turned on. Are you with me still? So muscle cells make muscle proteins called actin and myosin. Skin cells make skin proteins called collagen and elastin. Your immune system makes immune proteins called antibodies. Your stomach cells make stomach proteins called enzymes. Your eye cells make eye proteins called keratin. Your body is a protein-producing machine, and every cell in your body makes a protein except the red blood cell. So when they mapped the human genome, they found out, of course, that we express 1.5% of our genes. And they were shocked by that. Do you know why scientists were shocked by that? Because they said, okay, let's do just a little deductive reasoning. I've got 100,000 different proteins that make up your body, so there should be 100,000 genes for each one of those proteins. Come on. Poke the person next to you, because I'm saying genes are going to turn your brain off. So if your body's a protein-producing machine, are you with me still? And you're making 100,000 different proteins, you should have 100,000 genes for each one of those proteins. Yes or no? And then scientists said, okay, well, there's about 40,000 regulatory genes, regulatory proteins that are help making other things, so we should have 40,000 more genes for those regulatory proteins. So 100,000 plus 40,000 is 140,000 genes they would find for 140,000 proteins. Are you with me still?
Yes.
So what they found out was that human beings express 23,688 genes. How can you have more proteins in your body than genes? Because on one single gene, you could have over 3,000 variations on that gene. So then genes are like Christmas tree lights. They're turning on and off all the time. And when they become stimulated or activated or turned on, we call that upregulation, and it makes a really healthy protein consistent with the cell. You with me still? Yes. So then they turn off, it's called downregulation. All of a sudden the gene shuts off or starts making a different protein. Are you with me still?
Yes.
So then scientists used to say that genes create disease. Remember that? And then they said, oh, we lied. That wasn't correct. That's just a belief that we started to instill in everybody. So then they said it's the environment that signals the gene that can create disease, that 5% of people on this planet or less, up to 1%, are born with genetic conditions like Tay-Sachs disease, sickle cell anemia, type 1 diabetes. The rest is created from lifestyle or behavior. Because you can take identical twins. They share the exact same genes. How can one of them die at 54 and the other one live at 78 if they have the same genes? Are you with me still? Yes. But then, if it's the environment that signals the gene, how can two factory workers working side by side in the same toxic environment for 25 years, and one gets cancer and the other one doesn't? Because the outer environment of the cell that's signaling the gene is still the inner environment of your body. Are you with me still? And it's still the environment. So then when you react to your coworker, to a traffic jam, to your financial status, to a relative, and you keep doing that over and over and over again, sooner or later you're going to signal a gene that's going to begin to downregulate. Are you with me still?
Yes.
So then, if 95% of all genes are created from lifestyle, and you are thinking the same thoughts, making the same choices, demonstrating the same behaviors, creating the same experiences for the same familiar emotion, then you would have to agree you're keeping the same genes on and the other genes off. Are you with me still?
Yes.
But they now know that there are genes called behavior-dependent genes and experience-dependent genes, that if you do something real well and keep recreating the experience, those behavior-dependent genes and those experience-dependent genes are passed on to the next generation so that they can already have an advancement on the environment they're living in. Are you with me still? So then, yeah, a lot of people are headed for a genetic destiny because they're embracing and perceiving and behaving and thinking and feeling just like their parents. Are you with me still? Yes. And they're signaling the same gene. So then, check this out. It's the environment that signals the gene, yes or no?
Yes.
But your reaction to the environment produces an emotion, yes or no?
Yes.
So then it's the emotion that signals the gene, yes or no?
Yes.
So then if you are memorized to some emotion, addicted to some emotion, conditioned to some emotion, and that emotion's creating the same habits and the same attitudes, then for the most part, those emotions are driving your thoughts and behaviors, and they're consistent with that emotion. You keep the same genes on and the other genes off because your body is believing it's in the same environmental condition, and the same information is signaling the same gene. And if you keep signaling the same gene in the same way, and you consistently downregulate it and downregulate it and downregulate it, sooner or later it's going to get programmed to make a cheaper protein. And what happens when the body breaks down? What happens to our skin? What happens to our joints? What happens to our bones? What happens to our nails? Those are all proteins. And the body starts degenerating because there's no new information coming from any environmental change. How many people are with me? Yes. Turn the person next to you and have a genie in your genes conversation about your genes. Here's the question. If you're perceiving your reality from the same level of mind every single day, and you're reacting to the same circumstances in your life emotionally then every single day, and your environment isn't changing because you're not changing, then the environment is signaling the same gene. Are you with me still? And so then we have a limited amount of emotions that we experience in survival. And every one of them is a very specific signature emotionally that selects a very specific gene. Are you with me still? Yes. So then, if genes are like Christmas tree lights and they turn on and off, if you take a group of people then and you teach them how to change the way they think, if you teach them how to make different choices, if you teach them how to do things differently, and they create new experiences, and you teach them how to open their heart and to feel differently, is it possible then that they begin to change their genetic expression? Yes. And in experiments that have been done with men with prostatic cancer, tendencies, early onset prostatic cancer, they did that exact thing. And at the end of just 60 days, 2 months, they upregulated over 400 genes for health and anti-inflammation, and they down-regulated over 35 genes for cancer. turning on new lights, turning off old lights. You take a group of stressed out executives. You teach them how to breathe. You teach them how to relax. You teach them how to find the present moment. You teach them how to make different choices, and you teach them how to open their heart. And at the end of that experiment, 6 to 8 weeks later, they begin to regulate 1,561 new genes. Over 800 genes for growth and repair turned on or upregulated, and over 670 genes are downregulated for disease. Turning on new lights, turning off old lights. Are you with me still? Yes. So now here's the question. If your body's a protein-producing machine, and you insist for 5 years to live in the same emotional state, stressed out, frustrated, judgmental, in fear, every single day, you are knocking on a genetic door. That gene doesn't want to be programmed. It's not hardwired like your nails to make proteins as quickly, or your hair, or your skin cells. You keep knocking on that cell's door, sooner or later, you're going to program that gene to turn on. And people say to me, well, I've been doing my meditation for 2 weeks. And I haven't felt any difference. And I said, really? How long did it take you think, to create that condition of yours? How long were you mismanaging your energy? For how long? Oh, I was unhappy for 15 years, and I hated my life, and I was really a mean person. Oh, okay, so then if you've conditioned your body into that state, it's going to take you a little bit of while to condition your body into a new state. Yes or no? Yes. But those students that do the work, they'll tell their doctors, I just epigenetically signaled new genes in new ways because I became someone else. The disease exists in the old personality. I'm the new personality. Are you with me still? Yes. And doctors scratch their head, and now they're saying, wow, I wish all my patients were like you. So then, can you signal the gene ahead of the environment? Yes. Come on, because if you can feel an elevated emotion and marry it with a clear intention, your body, as the unconscious mind, is getting chemical signals ahead of the environment, and it's that emotion that's beginning to signal the gene to begin to program that specific cell to make a protein consistent with the person's future. They're wearing it biologically now, and they're headed for a genetic destiny. How many people are with me? Yes. Turn to the person next to you and have an enlivening conversation about genes, please. By the way, those men that had early onset propensities towards prostatic cancer, they measured their telomeres, the little shoestrings on the end of the DNA that shorten as the body ages, as the cell continues to replicate. And those men, on the average, had a 10% lengthening of their telomeres, which means they got 10% of their life back. And one man had 25% increase in his telomeres. He got 25% of his life back. And in this advanced workshop, we've randomly selected a group of people, and I am measuring 7,500 different gene sequences and see if we can have a person change their genetic expression in 4 days. Why not? If they can begin to create IgA levels that high, that's a gene. And if people's tumors are shrinking in our events, and they are, and their pain is literally going away when they open their eyes, it's no longer there. Scheduled for surgery 4 days later, and no pain. We have more than 1, 2, 3, many people. And they always say the same thing. It wasn't me that did this. I just got the hell out of the way. It was the power within me that did it. Are you with me still? Yes. And we are going to measure telomere lengths this year. Because if those people are having a reduction in inflammation, and then there has to be some gene that begins to activate the immune system and begins to reduce inflammation. And let's measure it. And so then, we become our own genetic engineer. Yes or no? Yes. So then when you begin to change the belief that you are your genes, that means you can take more responsibility for your health and your life. Yes or no? Yes. So then, if you're waking up the same morning and running through the same routine thoughts, choices, behaviors, and experiences that produce the same emotion, and you keep doing that over and over again, it's going to become a habit. Yes or no? Yes. So then, a habit is when your body becomes the mind, and your body is programmed into a very predictable future based on what you did in the past. So you wake up in the morning, you come back to your senses, you come back to your body, and you search for that familiar feeling. And then, you don't feel like yourself, so you got to complain a little bit. Now it's starting to feel a little bit more like you. And then you got to think about all your problems, and then you got to think about yesterday and what you did wrong. Or we start reaffirming the old self. You with me still? Yes. Then we wake up and we go, oh my God, who is that? Oh God, I'm in this reality. Okay, God. Jeez, okay. And then you reach for your cell phone. And then you check your WhatsApp. Then you check your Twitter. And then, of course, you check your texts. And then you go to Facebook, and then Facebook takes you on a journey. And you're in a virtual world. And then all of a sudden you wind up at the news. Then you sit up. You take your cell phone. You scratch yourself the same way you always do, slip into your slippers, walk over to the bathroom, use the toilet like you always do, go over to the mirror, look at yourself, remember who you are. Then you think of the coffee maker, and there you go, your body's following your mind to the coffee maker. And then as you're drinking your coffee, you're thinking about the shower, the next thing you know, you're standing naked in front of the shower. And then you're in the shower and you wash yourself the same routine way. Then you get in front of the mirror and you groom yourself and shave yourself and put your makeup on, brush your teeth the same way, floss. Dress yourself the way everybody expects you to dress. Go back in the kitchen, eat the cereal out of the same bowl with the same spoon, with the same hand, looking in the same direction. While you're watching the news, checking your cell phone, texting, and doing emails at the same time. Then you get up, you let the cat back in the house. You grab your gear, you walk into the car, you sit down in the car, boom, put the seatbelt on the same way, adjust the mirror like you always do, shift like you always do, back up because you're in the same thing, having the same experience, drive to work the same way, turn on the same radio station, react to the same conditions of traffic in the same way you did yesterday. Get to work, see the people that push the same emotional buttons in you. React in the same way consciously or unconsciously. Do the things that you've memorized and can do so well. Take your break, have your coffee, talk about someone that you don't like, walk back in while the boss is doing a thing, check your Facebook, then get done with work, and then stop at the grocery store. You get to the grocery store, you walk in, you turn right. Because everybody that walks into a grocery store turns right in the Western world, so you turn right. And then, of course, here we go. You buy the same foods. And then you stop at the gym and you do the same workout that you did the last time. Because you don't want to try anything new. It may take too much time. And then you get home and you sit down, you cook the same meal, you eat the same food, you watch the same television show. You get done with the television show, you do a few emails. Then you put on your lotions and your potions and your creams and you brush your teeth and go through your ritual. And then you get in bed and you open the book and you read one page out of the book. And you fall asleep and then you wake up in the morning and here we go again. And all of a sudden, over time, a person, habitat and their habit begin to marry. And now they're headed to a very predictable future based on what they did in the past. How many people are with me? Yes. Turn the person next to you and explain. This is the present moment. The moment you wake up in the morning and you search for the familiar feeling called you, the moment you feel that familiar emotion, you're in your past. Would you agree? Yes. And the moment you feel those emotions, a lot of those emotions are connected to old circuits in your brain that are memories. Are you with me still? Yes. So then, the more you feel those emotions and the more you recall those memories, the more you're in your past. Yes or no? And so then, when you get in touch with that familiar emotion and you're beginning to experience emotionally your past, and those emotions are driving your thoughts, and how you think and how you feel creates your future or your destiny. If you're thinking equal to some emotion in the same exact way, then for the most part, your past is your future. Yes or no? Yes. Turn the person next to you and explain that. Would you also agree that if those emotions are driving your thoughts and they're driving your behaviors and you can't think or act greater than how you feel, you're going to be predictable? Yes or no? So then if you wake up in the morning and you have a thought that leads to the same choice, that leads to the same behavior, that creates the same experience, that produces the same emotion, and you do that enough times, will that be an automatic program? And then you have another thought that leads to another choice, that leads to another routine behavior, that creates another experience, that creates another feeling or an emotion. If you keep doing that, it's going to become hardwired as well, and it's going to become a habit as well. Yes? And if you keep stringing thoughts, choices, behaviors, emotions, and experiences together, and you're running through the same routine every single day over and over again, would you agree then, if you keep doing it and a habit is a redundant set of automatic, unconscious thoughts, behaviors, and emotions that's acquired through frequent repetition, a habit is when your body becomes the mind, then you would have to agree that your body is programmed into a predictable future based on what you did in the past. In fact, we can take your past and we can go like this, boom, and set it right on your future, because your past is your future. Are you with me still? Turn the person next to you and have a late morning wonderful conversation about that. Here's my question. This becomes a set of programs, a set of habits. You know, you wake up in the morning, you get out of bed on the same side, you check your cell phone, you go through all those routine behaviors, you drink your coffee, you eat the same food, you see the same people, you go to the same places, you anticipate the same things in your life, because the brain is an anticipation machine. It's always anticipating the next moment based on the past. And the more the person lives in anxiety and stress, the more they're anticipating the future based on the past. So then, here's my question. Where in the predictable future is there room for the unknown in your life? You know, because if it landed right here, Dancing with the Stars is playing on, and you can't miss that. It's going to break up your whole thing. Turn the person next to you and explain. You're going to get all spiritual, you know, and you're going to put your meditation right here so you don't feel guilty over here. But here's the problem. When you're sitting in your meditation, you're thinking about your coffee. When you're drinking your coffee, you're thinking about taking a shower. When you're in the shower, you are creating what you're going to wear in your mind. When you're getting dressed, you're thinking about having breakfast. And then when you're having breakfast, you're thinking about work. And when you're at work, you're thinking about vacation. But when you're on vacation, you're thinking about work. You're never in the present moment because the body's already in the future. Are you with me still? Yes. And so then, would you agree then, if that is the way it works for most people, the present moment becomes very difficult to remain in because the body has a propensity to go somewhere, to do something, to see someone, to have some experience, all for some feeling that it's looking for and relying on its an external environment. Are you with me still? So then, where you place your attention is where you place your energy, period. So if you keep your attention, remember, you are always broadcasting an electromagnetic field. You're always emitting light and information. So then, if your emotions of anger and lack and frustration and suffering are driving your thoughts, then you're broadcasting a very specific electromagnetic energy that is consistent with this timeline. Are you with me still? Come on, are you with me? Yes. Which means then, if where you place your attention is where you place your energy, the moment you put your attention on some familiar emotion, you're in the past. Yes or no? Yes. And you're investing all of your creative energy into the past, and you are siphoning energy out of the present moment from your own energy field. Are you with me still? And as you think about all the people you have to see, all the things you have to do, all the things you have to buy, all the experiences that are known to you in your familiar life and the places you have to go at certain times, would you agree then? You're investing your energy into a predictable future because all of those people and things and conditions in your life are knowns. And you are siphoning energy out of the present moment, and you're investing your energy into a predictable known future. And you have very little energy in the present moment to create a new destiny. How many people are with me? Turn the person next to you and have a very lighthearted conversation about that, please. Let's say it another way. As you think about your coworkers, you think about your boss, you think about going to your desk and doing certain things, as you think about seeing other people and going to other places and having other things or getting other things, as you begin to think about that future, you're investing your attention and your energy into that particular known future reality, yes or no? Yes. And your body should follow your mind from the bed to the toilet, to the coffee maker, to the shower, to the closet, to the kitchen, to the car, to work. It should be following your mind all the time because it's programmed to follow the known. Are you with me still? Because of most of your attention is on the known. So then if you begin to think about all the people in your life that betrayed you and you have some emotion connected to that, or you're looking for a familiar emotion to reaffirm that addiction, and you keep your attention on those emotions and those memories, then you are putting most of your energy into the past. And in fact, you have very little energy in the present moment to create anything in your life because your energy is commingled in this line of time, because that's where your attention is. Are you with me still? So then those of you who know me know that I am a crazy person about the piano player experiment. Oh, no, not the piano player experiment. But it's amazing that you can take a group of people that never played the piano before, and you could do a brain scan on them, and then you can teach them one-handed finger exercises, scales and chords. And they can practice for 2 hours a day for 5 days. And at the end of 5 days, they volumetrically measure that part of the brain that's responsible for finger movements, and they grew extra circuits in their brain. Physical evidence as a result of their interaction in the environment. Well, that makes sense. You learn something new. Learning is making new synaptic connections. Yes or no? Yes. You get some instruction, you get your body involved. If you get your body involved, you're going to have a new experience. Experience enriches the brain. If you pay attention to what you're doing, and being present is paying attention, and you repeat it consciously over and over again, you'll begin to create new neural networks in your brain. Are you with me still? Yes. Nothing too exciting about that. That's called neuroplasticity. Tons of research on it. But you can take another group of people and do a brain scan on them, and then sit down and teach them the finger exercises, have them watch you, and then have them close their eyes and mentally rehearse playing those scales and chords 2 hours a day for 5 days with a metronome. And at the end of 5 days, they grow the same amount of circuits in their brain as the people who are physically practicing the activity. Did you get that? The brain looks like the experience has already occurred or the experience has been continuously happening. Are you with me still? In other words, the brain no longer is a record of the past. Now it's becoming a map to the future. Are you with me still? And how do we know that? Because you can take those people and set them in front of the piano. And remember, they changed their brain without lifting a finger. You can set them in front of the piano, and they can play those scales and chords, and they never played the piano before. It looks like they've been playing for a while. Are you with me still? They primed their brain for certain behavior. Yes or no? They changed their brain just by thinking differently. Yes? So then you may say, well, that's great, it changes the brain, but how does it change the body? You can take a group of men, and you can have them do one-handed bicep curls for an hour a day, test their muscle at the beginning of the activity, and for 2 weeks, an hour a day, they're rehearsing doing bicep curls in their mind, and they're adding an emotion like stronger, harder, more intense. And as they combine that clear intention with an elevated emotion, all of a sudden, at the end of 2 weeks, they have a 13% increase in muscle strength. Now the body looks like it's been in the experience already for the last 2 weeks. Are you with me still? Okay, now pay attention because this is the closer. If you're waking up every morning and thinking the same way about the people you have to see, the places you have to go, the things that you have to do in your known familiar reality, and you can anticipate the emotion of that experience, just like the piano players, just like the muscle exercises, you're priming your brain and body to look like the day has already happened. You're already biologically in that future based on those circuits that you've been activating in the past are more readily accessible. And the emotions that you're feeling, that you've been feeling, are literally creating the same chemicals. And now, of course, that's your genetic destiny. Are you with me still? It's already happened biologically, and now you're even further immersed in the program. Turn the person next to you and have a conversation about change. So now, this says, where you place your attention is where you place your energy. So then, this is the outer world of physical reality. This is your inner world of thoughts and feelings. Are you with me still? So you wake up in the morning and you reach for that cell phone. And you check your texts, your WhatsApp, you got to check your Facebook. Then you got to get on your computer. And then, of course, you got to check your emails. Of course, and then you got to tweet your breakfast. Then you got to check the Instagram. And then, of course, that leads you to thinking about your job. And then, of course, you got to have the meeting with the boss. And then, of course, there's your coworkers that you really don't like. And then, of course, there's your enemies. You give them a lot of your attention. You love them the most, actually. You give them the most of your attention. Of course, and then there's your partner. And then there's your kids. And then, of course, there's your parents. And then, of course, there's your in-laws. What's up with them, anyway? And then, of course, there's your ex. You got to keep them in the equation. And then, of course, there's your friends. And then, of course, there's your face. That's who you think you are. Then there's your body. You got to take care of that. You better take those 2 pills that you've been resisting taking. Those are vitamins. And then, of course, there's money. And then, of course, there's the lack of money. And then there's your house. And then, you got to pay attention to food, You eat very, very uniquely. Then you have food, and then, of course, you have a car. And then, of course, there's the news. And then there's your pets. Woo-hoo! Almost left them out. Now, here's my question. If where you place your attention is where you place your energy, how much energy do you have for your inner world of thoughts and feelings to create a different outer world? Turn the person next to you and have an even more robust conversation about that. How many people are with me? So, these things in your outer world, of course, are made up of objects and things and people and places, yes? Yes. So then all of your attention is on matter, on the particle, yes? Yes. All of your attention is on knowns, yes or no? Yes. So then if these are knowns, it means that on some level you must have experienced them to some degree, yes or no? Yes. Hello? Yes. So then if you've experienced them to some degree, you have a neurological network in your brain to assign to every one of these, yes or no? Yes. So then 70% of the time, most people are living by the hormones of stress, and their brain is in high beta brainwave patterns, and they're aroused. And those chemicals cause us to try to control everything in our life, to keep it together. And as we shift our attention from one person to one thing, to one place, to one time, and the brain is aroused, as you shift your attention from one thing to one place, to one person to one particular time, as you do that, you're activating those different neurological networks in your brain, yes or no? Yes. And like a lightning storm, all of a sudden, they're firing very incoherently. And when your brain is incoherent, you're incoherent because you're shifting your attention very quickly from one to the next, and the brain is becoming very disintegrated, very compartmentalized. How many people are with me? Yes. Turn the person next to you and explain. Man, he's making us talk a lot. So, now, every one of these things, people, objects, or places that have a neurological network in your brain, you've experienced them, yes or no? Yes. So they're knowns, yes? So when you put your attention on that person or that thing, you're activating that particular corresponding associative neurological network, yes or no? Yes. So then when you're obsessing about something in your life and you're shifting your attention from one to the next, or you're obsessing about some particular condition and you're trying to analyze and figure how it's going to work out, when you're driven by those hormones of stress and you become overly analytical, overly focused, then you're activating these different circuits and your brain goes into high beta brainwave patterns and it's very incoherent. And that's how come we're incoherent when that happens. Yes or no? Yes. So then, if each one of these knowns in your life you've experienced, then it must mean on some level you have an emotion attached to them, yes or no? Because an emotion is an end product of an experience. So if emotions are energy in motion, as long as you're living by the same emotion every single day that's connected to someone or something, your energy is connected to someone or something. Yes or no? So then, you use your boss to reaffirm an addiction to judgment. You use your enemy to reaffirm your addiction to hatred. You use your parents to reaffirm your addiction to guilt. They're really good at that, and so are you. You use your friends to reaffirm your addiction to suffering. Yes or no? You use your Facebook to reaffirm your addiction to insecurity. Nobody liked me today. And so all of your energy is bound to a past, present reality because your attention is connected to that person or thing or object because of some emotion that you experience with them. And as long as you feel that emotion and you're addicted to it, you'll keep marrying that energy with that person, that thing, that object, and all of your creative energy is tied up in a past, present reality. Are you with me still? Yes. So then, if this is an atom, and this is an atom, when they come together and they form a molecule, they share energy and information. Yes or no? Yes. They're exchanging information. So here's you. I'll give you a hairdo. And you have the electromagnetic signature of suffering. And here's your best friend, and she has the homily, I can suffer better than you can. And you are bound by an invisible field of energy that is vibrating at the same level of suffering. And there's a vibrational match between you and that person. And not only are you exchanging information by complaining with each other, you're actually exchanging energy. And you're using each other to reaffirm the addiction to that emotion. Come on, are you with me still? Yes. So then all of your creative energy is tied up in suffering. And your attention is on that person. And so is your energy. Are you with me still? Yes. So where's the scientists and engineers in the room? What does it take to separate these two atoms? A lot of energy. What do you think it's going to take to separate those? So then, you're sitting in your meditation, and your body is raging. It's just wanting, like an addict, just a little suffering. But you've observed yourself enough times that you are not going to let that thought slip by your awareness and program your autonomic nervous system. And the body is doing everything it can to feel that emotion. And every time you return back to the present moment and you are no longer associating with that emotion, you're no longer firing and wiring these circuits in your brain, and you're no longer creating the same emotion that's signaling the same gene. And all of a sudden now, as you continuously return back to the present moment and begin to break the addiction of that emotion, you are breaking the bonds with everyone and everything in your known familiar reality. And here comes that energy. It's coming back to you. And it's a very chaotic energy, and for the most part, it creates a lot of discomfort. Are you with me still? We know this to be the case because in many advanced workshops, the first day, not all of them, depends on the group, but a lot of times the first day when we measure the energy in the room, it goes down. And the scientists that first came and studied the work with me came running up and saying, what's going on? The energy's going down the first day. I said, of course it is. Everybody's drawing from the field, breaking their energetic and emotional bonds that keep them connected to their past, present reality. And they're drawing from the field to build their own field. And then all of a sudden, as the energy starts to go around a person, they're breaking those bonds and they're creating their own field. Now they start to contribute to the energy in the room. And here we go, from here to there in one day. Because now people all of a sudden are opening up and expanding their light, their information. Are you with me still? And they're overcoming those emotions that have been stored in the body and that are bound to someone or something. How many people are with me? Yes. So then, people say to me, Dr. Joe, somebody stole my phone. I lost my job. My enemy died. I have no money. My parents aren't talking to me. I always say to them, look how much creative energy you have now to create a new future. And don't you think there are people in this audience that are advanced students that lost everything because they were no longer in a vibrational match with that past. They lost everything. They were living out of the back of a car. And now they're making millions and millions of dollars because they belong to a new future. They're in this audience. And so then, as you begin to break those energetic emotional bonds and you call that energy back to you, now you have available energy to heal. Now you have available energy to design a new destiny. Now you have available energy to heal someone else. Now you have the available energy to hook up to a field of information that's going to create a mystical experience in your brain. You are now connected to something else. Are you with me still? So then how much of your creative energy is tied up in guilt? How much of your creative energy is tied up in insecurity? How much of your creative energy is tied up in hatred that you could use to create a new destiny? How many people are with me? Turn the person next to you and explain. How's your model? Don't worry, we're going to get out of this. Because this is the identity that we create that's identifying with our external environment. You know, it's the people you know, the things you own, the places you lived at different times. That becomes the person's personality. Are you with me still? And that's who they believe they are. They become the someone, the somebody, the something, owns some things, lives somewhere in some time. And if where you place your attention is where you place your energy, and the majority of your attention is on the knowns, on the particle, on matter in quantum physics, you keep reaffirming that same reality, yes or no? You keep looking for it, becoming aware of it, observing it, and it keeps materializing in front of you, which means you're viewing your life from the same level of mind, anticipating the next moment to show up unconsciously based on the past moment. Are you with me still? Yes. Come on. Yes. So then, if the brain and body are programmed into that state, then you would have to agree then that if you're not in the present moment, you're running a program. Yes or no? Yes. So then, all a person's creative energy is tied up with someone or something, and they're viewing their life in anticipation of it showing up again so that at least they can protect themselves for what's about to occur. So they're unconsciously programming and creating the same future. They're living in the same dream. Are you with me still? Yes. So then, if that's the case, and the quantum model of reality says subjective mind has an effect on the objective world, that mind and matter are so commingled it's impossible to separate the two, then we know this to be the case because in quantum physics experiments, that when the observer came along to measure and look for the electron, it went from this huge cloud of energy, and it collapsed all at once. All that energy collapsed into a particle called collapsing the wave function, a quantum event. Mind had an effect on matter, and the energy that was being exchanged influenced matter. Are you with me still? Yes. So then, the observer produces an effect from energy to matter. Yes or no? Yes. When the observer turns around and looks away from the electron and no longer observes it, that electron moves from matter back into the wave, back into energy, back into possibility. This is possibility, this is reality. Are you with me still? So then here's my question. If you're viewing your life from the same level of mind every single day, anticipating it unconsciously to show up just like it did yesterday so that you can reaffirm that feeling, then you would have to agree that you as the quantum observer are taking infinite fields of energy and collapsing them into the same patterns called your life. Yes or no? Yes. So then, would it make sense then that the moment you took your attention off your body, off of people in your life, off of things, off of places, and off of time, if you were no longer thinking about any of these things, you're no longer activating those circuits in your brain. So then, the moment you're no longer analyzing and activating the circuits in your brain waves change from beta, high beta, and slow down and start turning into alpha brainwave patterns. Are you with me still? Yes. And now the inner world is becoming more real than the outer world. And if I ask you to take your attention off of the particle and matter and open your awareness, open your focus to space, to nothing, to energy, to information, the act of opening your awareness begins to activate the proprioceptors in your brain of your subconscious. And you're no longer analyzing and thinking, you're sensing and feeling. And when you do that, all of a sudden, the autonomic nervous system says, she's gone. Let's get to work. And all of a sudden, its job is to create coherence. And as your brain waves change from beta to alpha, and some fall into theta, all of a sudden, you're conscious right in your subconscious mind. You are in that autonomic nervous system. And the marriage of those two, all of a sudden, you forget about yourself. You forget. And the moment that happens, you begin to connect to that intelligence. And it begins to take those different compartments that have been subdivided because of those emotional addictions, and it begins to create coherence in the brain. It's stepping in, creating order. I have left my body enough times, and sometimes when I'm out of my body, I'm looking down at my body, and it is laughing. And I know why it's laughing because it's so overjoyed that I'm out of it. And I'm going like, what is going on? And then I try to get back in, it just kicked me right out. Just like, I'm not letting you in yet. I'm going to have a moment of euphoria. And I can feel what it's feeling out of my body. And so when your autonomic nervous system steps in and creates that kind of coherence, your brain begins to become coherent. And as you begin to break those energetic and emotional bonds that keep you connected to your past, present reality, the body begins to go from contraction to expansion, from particle to wave. The heart starts to open. You feel safe. You feel invincible. You feel empowered. You're no longer restricted by the hormones of stress. And the heart starts getting very organized and very coherent. Are you with me still? Yes. And now you're ready to create a new future. So then that moment, you're no longer separate as a particle feeling like a body in an environment and time. You're feeling more like energy. You're feeling connected to something greater. And you're less likely to try and wish and hope. Hope is a beggar. You just become aware of what already exists for you. Are you with me still? You're connected to something greater. So then, if the quantum field is an invisible field of information that exists beyond this space and time, it's energy and information beyond matter, vibrating at a faster speed. Are you with me still? Yes. So then, if it is that invisible field of information that exists beyond this space and time is made up of people and objects and things and places. Would you agree? Yes. And time. So then if you took your attention off of people, your body, things and places and objects and time, then you would become nobody, no one, no thing, no where, and no time. You would become pure consciousness. And in that moment, instead of putting all your attention on being a somebody, something, somewhere, and sometime, all of a sudden becoming nobody, no one, no thing, no where, and no time, lines you up right to that unified field. Are you with me still? And finally it says, oh, you're present with me. I've been waiting 927,616 lifetimes for this moment. Hey, I'm so happy to see you. Are you with me still? Yes. So in that moment where your consciousness merges with a greater consciousness, you're disinvesting your energy out of this 3D reality. You're not thinking of your body, you're not thinking of your face, you're not thinking of your name, you're not thinking of people, you're not thinking of places, you're not thinking of objects, and you're disinvesting your energy out of this 3D reality because you're no longer putting your attention on it. Are you with me still? Yes. So then all of a sudden, as you begin to do that, something amazing happens. You become aware that you're aware in this infinite space of nothing physical, in this infinite black eternal space. And if you can linger in that unknown, in that infinite space, without being a face, without being a gender, without being a sexual preference, without being a diet, without being a grandmother, just as an awareness, then you are existing in the unknown. And the longer you linger and invest your attention in the unknown, the more you should create an unknown experience in your life. Yes or no? Yes. But if you, as the quantum observer, keep returning your mind to the knowns, the familiar people and things and places in your known familiar reality, to your body, to your emotions, to your habits, to thinking about the predictable future or remembering the familiar past, then you're taking all of your attention and putting it back into this three-dimensional reality, and you're focusing on the particle and matter in quantum physics. Are you with me still?
Yes.
So then, if it's made up of objects and things and people and places and all of that other stuff, then what if I took all the people and we just vaporized them? And then we took all of the pets and vaporized them, and then took all of the places and all the things, and they all of a sudden disappeared. Then I took the Earth, and we disappeared the Earth, and all the planets, and all the suns, and all the stars, and all the galaxies. What would you be left with? Space, yes? Nothing material, but that empty space is rich in information, in frequency. And if you can make the connection in your brain that you are a consciousness in the presence of a greater consciousness, you are in that unified field and linger there without returning back to the familiar self, just like in the quantum physics experiments. When the observer takes her attention off the electron and it turns back into energy, into possibility, the longer you take your attention off your known familiar life, the more it turns into possibility, into the unknown. How many people understand?
Yes.
Turn the person next to you and explain. So, people say to me all the time, they say to me all the time, so what do you do? They always ask me that. I always say I allow 2 hours a day for myself, for my morning. I like the morning because the rest of the day I'm serving. So in the morning, I have to get my brain and body right. And some days, I fall right into the present moment. It's really easy. And other days, I'm thinking about all those emails, all those texts, all those people, all those meetings, all those contracts, the flight at 1:40, what I have to do on the flight, the publisher needs a chapter. You know how that goes, yes? And my attention is already in the predictable future, and I'm investing my energy in that future, and I'm changing my brain and body to look like my day has already happened. It's the known. Are you with me still? But if I become conscious that I'm doing that, and I say, oh my God, Joe, you're investing your attention in the knowns. You're going to get to that, and you're going to catch your flight, and you're going to get all those emails done. And all of a sudden, I say, I'm not going to fire and wire those thoughts in my brain. I'm no longer going to emotionally signal the same genes by creating the same chemicals. Is it possible then, if I take my attention off that predictable future, I'm calling energy back to me? Are you with me still? Now, you know how this goes. That goes really well for a while, and all of a sudden your body's getting a little frustrated because you can't find the present moment like you did yesterday, and you're feeling a little frustrated and a little angry, and then you start thinking about that staff meeting that didn't go the way you wanted, and all of a sudden you got a little more frustrated. Oh! I better get back to the present moment here. And I return back to the present moment, and I unfold as an awareness into this infinite black space, aware that I'm aware in this infinite unknown. And as I stop doing that, I disinvest my energy out of the past. And at the same time, I'm no longer firing and wiring the same memories, and I'm no longer emotionally and chemically signaling the same genes. Are you with me still? And then I start thinking out of nowhere that I missed a phone call and I forgot to call that person back, and oh my God, I got a sick horse and I got to take care of this, and all of a sudden I start thinking about the predictable future, and all of a sudden I stop. And I no longer fire and wire, I no longer signal the same gene, I disinvest my energy out of the known future. And if I keep doing this over and over and over again, no longer firing, no longer wiring, no longer emotionally addicting and signaling the same genes to make the same protein and anticipating the future based on the past, if I keep insisting on the present moment and retraining the body as the mind, sooner or later, the body is going to liberate all of that energy. And all of that energy that's coming back to you is now available energy for you to design a new destiny, and all you have to do is change your energy by marrying a clear intention with an elevated emotion, and now you're broadcasting a whole new electromagnetic signature. And in the eternal present moment, You are now connected to all possibilities. How many people understand? Turn to the person next to you and explain. So what if I said to you, it's time to become nobody? No one, no thing, no where, and no time, to become pure consciousness and to unfold as an awareness, aware that you're aware in this infinite, vast space of eternal blackness. And if I said to you, and the longer you linger in the unknown, the more you create a new opportunity or possibility in your life. And if you, as the quantum observer, find your mind returning to the knowns, to your identity that's connected to people and things and places in your known familiar reality, to your body, to your emotions or habits, to thinking about the predictable future or remembering the familiar past, simply become aware that your attention is on the knowns. Return back to the present moment and unfold into this infinite vast space. Stay present. Would you agree then, in the beginning, you'd have to become conscious of how unconscious you were? Yeah. Now pay close attention, because it's not your ex-husband that did that to you. It's you that's mismanaged your energy. And if you're sitting in this meditation, do I have your word that if you're in this meditation, you're in it the entire time? Yes. And if your body gives you fits, master it. That's why you're here. You keep training it back into the present moment, and sooner or later, it's going to surrender. And when it does, it's going to liberate energy. And it will be the most familiar, unfamiliar feeling you've ever had. And all of a sudden, your body is no longer enslaved to the past or a predictable future. It's relaxing more into the present moment. And yeah, it may give you trouble, but if you keep returning it back to the present moment, you're telling it it's no longer the mind, that you are the mind. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am the boss here. Are you with me still? And if you keep doing that over and over again, you're going to disinvest your energy out of a predictable future. You're going to disinvest your energy out of familiar past. You're going to no longer fire and no longer wire and no longer create the emotions that you're addicted to that are going to signal the same genes that keep you in the same genetic destiny. And all of a sudden, you're going to start calling that energy back to you, and you're going to begin to build a field. And that available energy is what we are going to use after breakfast to tune into a new future. Are you with me still? Yes. So then, you have to be able to surrender into the generous present moment and feel safe to do it. And if you're thinking about how long the music's going, or you think about what you're going to get for lunch, or what you're going to do this evening, or you just don't like the way it's too warm in here, or too cold in here, or the way that person smells, or the noise in the back, you are still here. You haven't moved beyond this space and time. Are you with me still? Yes. So then, are any of these things bad? No, but if you can't get beyond them, they own you because of the emotions and the habits. Yes or no? Yes. And so then when you change your energy and you start breaking the emotional bonds with everyone and everything in your life, some of those things that are no longer in a vibrational match with you any longer are going to fall away. Don't see it as loss. That's a victim. See it as change, and just know that now you're going to a new future. And don't you try to go back and fix that. Did you hear me? Yes. Because love is the only constant that continuously you stay connected to. It's the only thing that's real. Yes. When you get beyond need and lack and all those things, your world's going to shake up. And you may feel like you're in the dark night of the soul. I've had numerous dark nights. And it's just because I couldn't find anybody else doing what I was doing. And I just trusted in the unknown. And I had to rely on myself. And that's when you're at your best. Are you with me still? Yes. So then as you change your brain waves and you're sitting there and you begin to become analytical and emotional, you're moving into high beta brainwave patterns. And if the whole purpose of meditation is to move beyond your analytical mind, and you're sitting there analyzing within that emotion, you've gone nowhere. But if you become conscious that you're analyzing and thinking, and you stop thinking and analyzing and open up your awareness, how aware can you become aware of this infinite space? And awareness in this space, and keep surrendering into it. Are you with me still? Yes. Then you keep disinvesting your energy out of this 3D reality, and you'll go from particle to wave. So then, when you do that properly, and you keep getting beyond yourself repeatedly, your brain waves will begin to slow down. And as you open your focus and you sense space, we've measured this thousands of times, your brain waves begin to slow down into alpha, but not just any kind of alpha, organized and coherent alpha, because you're taking your attention off of matter and you're putting it on information and energy. Are you with me still? Yes. And you don't have to be a body. You are not your body. You're the consciousness having the experience of being somebody. And you chose that. So you might as well enjoy it. Are you with me still? Yes. So then, as your consciousness begins to connect to a greater consciousness, and you begin to unfold into that place, your brain waves will slow down from beta to alpha, into coherent alpha, and some of you will move into theta, where your body's actually starting to fall asleep, but you're awake. That's the magic land. And our students can sustain that state for extended periods of time. And some of our students are in deep delta, and I'll show you that this afternoon. They are sound asleep. Their body is in the deepest level of delta that's below delta. And yet they're awake, they're having a mystical experience. So then, if you begin to see your head do this, or do this, or do this, it just means your brain waves are changing. And you're used to laying your body down doing it, and I'm asking you to sit up. And don't you give me that line, "Oh, Dr. Joe, I really can't meditate." Oh, really? Where do you meditate? In bed. Get out of bed. Of course you can't meditate if you're laying on your back in bed. You're going to sleep. That's where you go to sleep. Get up. Sit up. Sit up like a noble being, ready to create. And so then, do I have your word that if you're in this meditation, you're in this meditation the entire time and you're not going to lay down? Because if you lay down, I'm going to lay down next to you and whisper in your ear, "Get up." Did you hear me at any point say to stand up and do ecstatic dancing? No, we're not doing a standing up meditation. You'll learn those meditations in your advanced event. Did you hear me say you can get up and eat a tuna sandwich in the back of the room? Did you? I didn't say that, right? You're going to sit and take your attention off your body, off of people in your life, off of things, off of places you have to go, off your schedule, and off of the predictable future and the familiar past, off of time. And if you do that properly and you keep surrendering, you're going to take your attention off of matter and this outer world, and all of a sudden, you're going to put your attention on that mirror. And the longer you can stay in that mirror, the more it's going to reflect it back in your life. And if you can surrender deeper and deeper into it, you're moving closer towards it. And it's going to get a very clear message, and it's going to begin to respond to you. Are you with me still? Yes. So can you give me your best? Yes. Your absolute best? Yes. Turn to the person next to you and tell them you got this. Yes. Now, if you have a cell phone on, you better make sure that's off, because if it rings during this meditation, I'm going to pick it up and go, I don't know. I'm losing it here. If you're wearing glasses, please remove them. If you have a watch on, please take it off. We're leaving time behind. Here we go. Sit up straight, eyes closed. Just follow the instructions. Knowledge is the precursor to